This is the concierge, sir.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Concierge Confidential. I'm your host, Brian Ortega, and in today's episode, it is the start of the fabulous 5-day sale for the city of Las Vegas. So this is an initiative that was started by the Las Vegas Convention and Visitor Authority that is trying to urge people to come back to Las Vegas with deals and sales, and whether it be, obviously for optics, but there are some actually good deals on the list here. So you can go to like any of the Vegas news websites. I'm on Fox 5, where you can actually see any of this. And if you go to Las Vegas Visitor Authority's website, they have each one sort of sectioned off for each hotel that you might be looking for. But I'm going to go over the broad strokes of this thing and some of the places that have really good deals and some of the places that maybe you can stay away from. But overall, you can check out this on your own and see really where there are some good deals to be had. And I'm basically going to come on here and I'm going to explain whether that's a good deal, maybe something that isn't as much of a deal as you think, and sort of just, go through a couple of these. So anyways, it is the fabulous 5-day sale in Las Vegas episode coming up next. Okay, guys, let's go ahead and just jump into it. So we're talking about the fabulous 5-day sale, which honestly, like, nobody really liked the ad that they put in, I believe, at the beginning of the year for football. But we're here. So this is essentially an initiative that was put forth by the LVCVA, the Las Vegas Convention and Visitor Authority. And a lot of the hotels had to buy in and kind of do this. And I think it's in their best interest, so that's good. And we have them from everything from Caesars, MGM Grand, downtown. And a lot of them have very different deals going on. So let's go ahead and talk about a few of them. Let's start with the big one, MGM Resorts International, which owns about half of the Strip. The other half is owned by Caesars Entertainment, as we've said. So it does say up to 50% off stays at the Excalibur, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and MGM Grand Hotel and Casino. The New York. It actually lists all of the MGM properties. But as we kind of go through here, you kind of have to make sure when you click on them to see which one it is actually telling you which has the up to 50%. So kind of deciphering it, Excalibur is probably going to offer 50%, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, and MGM Grand. New York as well. But once we start getting up to the higher end hotels, places like the Aria, Bellagio, Cosmopolitan, and Vdara, they actually have a different promotion going on. So they're offering up to 25% off plus $100 daily food and beverage credit at those luxury properties. So honestly, not terrible, especially because of what their offerings are. They're usually going to be a step up from a lot of the other places that you're going to get on the Las Vegas Strip. Obviously, depending on where you're staying, this might actually be a pretty good deal. So check out MGM Resorts. It looks like they're going to have a lot of different options, but I'll go through that one more time. For the up to 50% off stays, we'll be at the Excalibur, Luxor, Mandalay Bay, MGM Grand, New York, Nomad, Park MGM, and the Signature and W Las Vegas, which is essentially next to the Mandalay Bay. I would actually book those hotels. So I would say that you're probably getting more bang for your buck by getting 50% off stays at those properties than you are getting at like the Aria, Bellagio, or Cosmopolitan. Obviously, if you're somebody who likes the food offerings at places like Aria, Bellagio, and Cosmo, that might be a much more enticing offer if you're willing to do the 25% off with the $100 daily food and beverage credit. So it really comes down to your budget, but really $100 daily food and beverage, you really have to be careful because a lot of times they'll make you charge it back to your room. Sometimes it'll be an outsourced restaurant, which a lot of them are now, that don't participate in that. There's lots of sort of fees and restrictions. So what I would do as somebody who's booking this is make sure when you're reading the fine print that the $100 daily food and beverage is to enough of the restaurants that you'd want to try. This happened a lot when I was a concierge, that we would have like these promotions and then they couldn't use food and beverage at certain properties or certain restaurants. So be careful when you're reading the fine print that it includes the restaurants you want, or maybe even all the restaurants on that property. So just keep that in mind. Another cool thing is that what you can do, you can go to other properties whether it be Aria, Bellagio, Cosmopolitan, or Vdara, even on any other MGM property, and you can charge that food back to your room. And usually at checkout, they can use that food and beverage to take it off for you. So with this, I would say you're able to get some bang for your buck if you're doing the $100 the daily food and beverage credit for those higher end properties. So again, just check the dates. And of course, in general, midweek is going to be cheaper. Weekends are going to be more expensive. So just keep that in mind when you're booking for these places. And a lot of them don't have like limits on how many days you can book. I'm sure it has like up to like a week or something. Okay, so let's go ahead and keep it moving. So let's move on to Caesars Palace or Caesars Entertainment, which is essentially the other half of the strip. So they're offering up to 50% off rooms at Harrah's, Flamingo, The Link, Horseshoe, and also, this is kind of cool, and resort fee match via food and beverage credit at Paris, Nobu, Caesars Palace, and the Cromwell. That's interesting. I have to read that again. So, and resort fee match via food and beverage credit at, I don't know what that means, guys, to be honest. I'm really bad with these sometimes in terms of like the wording. But anyways, 50% off the room rates, which is important. And resort fee match via food and beverage credit. That's so interesting. I have to decipher that on what via match food and beverage credit. Well, most resort fees are going to be around $50. So essentially, wherever you are, maybe you're getting $50 food and beverage credit at those properties. Man, that's a tough one. That's interesting to read. But Planet Hollywood actually has a really interesting one going on specifically for their property. And suite rates using this code, LVSTE, and 50% off of your room rate, which is awesome. Planet Hollywood's a great property, especially if you're wanting to be in the middle of the action. Highly recommend Planet Hollywood if you're trying to do that. But again, check out and see their rates, what they're going on. That might be a cool one. But Caesars and MGM are really doing a pretty good job of doing up to 50% off for their rates, which is, not too bad. A more interesting one that is still on the strip, let's stay on the strip here, is Fontainebleau. They're offering 20% off and then complimentary nightly resort fees, which is usually about $50. So take $50 off of like a 3-day stay. That's $150 you're saving. And $50 daily food and beverage credit plus free parking at the Fontainebleau. So that's pretty good. Free parking. So parking usually daily there is about $30. So you add that times 3, you're looking at about $90. When you take the $90, I'm using like 3 days as sort of like the example. But if you're going to be staying there 3 days, that's $150 off for food and for your resort fee, and that's another $100 off of your parking fee. You're already saving about so 150 plus, let's just say 100, $250 off your stay. So $240 since I did the math as quick as I could. And you get $50 food and beverage credit each day, which is actually quite good just because that place has lots of restaurants that you can use them at. And they're typically, those standalone hotels typically are all in for like all their properties to use those. So highly recommend it. I really love Mother Wolf, as you guys know. And you can actually do like if you just do like one pasta and a cocktail, that comes in around $50 depending on what you get. And it's very doable. So that's actually not bad. So it's important to note, like when they do these like resort fees, it's per room. So like if there's 2 of you, like both of you don't get $50. It's going to be $50 per room. I'm sure you guys all knew that, but just felt like I should like sort of just talk it out with you just to make sure there's no complications. So staying on the strip, let's move over to the Four Seasons, which is located inside the Mandalay Bay. Theirs is enjoying up to $500 in hotel credit for spa treatments, cabana, dining, and that has to be a 2-night minimum stay to enjoy all that. So $500 in hotel credit for spa treatments is okay. The cabanas aren't bad, and dining. Cabanas actually is probably where I would use this, just because cabanas can be, pricier. Usually about $300 to $500 for like a one afternoon stay. If you did $500 in the spa, you would be able to get a good amount there. So typically, like if you did a spa treatment for like a 90-minute massage, you'd be looking at almost $300. So if you did it for yourself, it would actually be quite worth it. If you did like a couples massage, couple massages come in just under $600. So if you want to use it for the spa, that wouldn't be bad. And usually when you do the spa treatments, you get access to that spa for the whole day. It's really important to sort of note these because Four Seasons does have like two restaurants, and it's really important to break this down. Is do you get to use the $500 dining credit at Mandalay Bay resorts? So Mandalay Bay restaurants, which is basically the rest of the hotel. So I would double check on that one. It doesn't sound too bad, but again, your nightly stay is going to be quite high. So this one is very much like TBD whether or not it's worth doing. But if you're more of like a high-end client, this might be your chance to get, a good $500 credit on a place that you'd like to stay anyways. So moving to downtown. Let's move downtown. So this is a very interesting one. So Circa actually ran this like all-in price during the summertime. I don't know if it was this exact price, but it's very similar to what they were doing, which is a $400 all-in price, and that includes a $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit. So it's essentially $200 in free credit, food and beverage, and a day bed at Stadium Swim for a 2-night stay, Sunday through Thursday. So this is not on the weekends. This is strictly a weekday promotion, which isn't too bad. Like if you find a nice date, during the week, these do fill up quite a bit. So make sure that you book these as soon as possible. But $400 all-in price. So it's about $200 a night per room, and then it includes a $100 dining credit, a $100 beverage credit as well. That's not bad. You can probably go eat at Barry's, for example. Barry's is probably about, for two people, about $215. You're essentially getting that cut in half. So it's actually not terrible. And then if you also get a $100 beverage credit, which essentially would get you 1, 2, 3, 4, 50. You probably get about 4 drinks with that. If you're doing like a cocktail, if you're doing beers are going to be about $10 to $11 depending on, if it's a bottle, if it's draft, which bar you get it at. But let's just range it between like $9 and $11. So you could probably do a good amount of those. So the $100 food and the $100 beverage credit would do pretty well for somebody who's like a beer drinker. Again, just break down those just in case you were wondering. So as we're kind of moving along, I think that one's pretty good. I think the Circa one is good. As also it includes the day bed at Stadium Swim. So this is actually kind of fun, especially if you're going to do like Thursday Night Football. That'd be cool. But with that being said, it is a weekly during the week promotion. So Sunday through Thursday. Make sure to outline that. So also their sister property, which is the Golden Gate Hotel, is a $200 all-in price. Very similar to what they're doing at Circa, but less price because let's face it that their daily rental fees for their stays are not very high. But $200 all-in price includes a $100 dining credit at Andiamo, which that is at the D, not at the Golden Gate. 2 passes to Stadium Swim, and access to the Nights All Here party. 2 nights suite hotel stay Sunday through Thursday. Just so you know, the rooms at Golden Gate are quite small. So a suite essentially makes it like a standard room. So just don't let that suite throw you off. That's basically what a standard room in Las Vegas, the size would be like. And it still might be like kind of small. But this one's not bad. The Night Starts Here party is their happy hour between 5 and 6, where they say all the drinks are complimentary, or all you can drink. So there might be a fee included with that. So this is taking care of that fee, and they also have like free play that they give out during that time. And again, I believe it's between 5 and 6 o'clock, weekly. It's every day. So this one's interesting. I would probably go with the Circa stay over the Golden Gate stay, knowing that the rooms are quite different at both of these properties. So looking at the other downtown properties, Golden Nugget is going to offer no resort fees, which is about, $40 to $50 or, whatever they're charging. and then a nightly savings of over $50. So that one's okay. It's not great. It's not. It's really sort of ineffective there. Like nothing really there. So I would say maybe don't stay at the Nugget for this promotion. The Palms are offering up to 50% off on rooms and suites, no resort fees, and free parking, and massage special starting at $99. That one's not bad because Palms actually hotel room rates are not too high. So if you get 50% off, you usually get a pretty good room and a nice view. Palms does offer some of the best views of the Las Vegas Strip. So if you do get a suite there, you want to be on the looking south because it's sort of the way the Strip is angled. You're able to get a view looking that. Obviously, if you can get a view looking east, that's the best. But there's not as many rooms as you think that look east from the Palms Hotel. So yeah, not bad. Resorts World, up to $150 dining credit with their stay. That one's fine. They have a lot of restaurants there, but maybe not. Sahara's offering up to 20% off plus $25 resort credit. South Point is offering 10% off prevailing rate and then a discounted resort fee and $20 free play. South Point is a local casino, so I mean, 10% is not very much. I would say maybe skip that one. Last one for Fremont Street. The D is offering $200 all in, $100 dining credit to Andiamo, 2 passes, stadium swim, and again, you have to stay in a suite there. So that's Sunday through Thursday. Very similar to what they have at the Golden Gate. The D is a little bit bigger property in terms of their hotel rooms, but the actual casino floor itself is not as big. It is 2 floors technically, but the D is just fine. As we move down, the Venetian Palazzo. This is going to be interesting. So up to 33% off suite package. I love that they go with the Asian numbers there. That's a very much like a Vegas old school Far East tradition is to have like the weirdest numbers. 33% off suites plus a $50 cocktail credit, whichever that means. Again, what's a beverage credit plus a cocktail credit? Who knows? And then more than $300 in dining offers, up to $100 spa credit, and 2-for-1 gondola rides. Oh boy, 2-for-1 gondola rides. So that's great. It's only $40 instead of $80. Be careful with these very abstract deals where it says more than $300 in dining offers, because then it's like, well, one could be $100. One will be $25, and so on and so forth. So just be careful with those. This one seems a little bit shadier, the Venetian and Palazzo, so maybe I would skip the Venetian Palazzo offers that they are offering. Virgin Hotels, 25% off and $25 daily food and beverage credit. Not much. I wouldn't recommend doing that. The one that is missing here is the Wynn. The Wynn is not offering any of these fabulous 5-day sale, which means they must be doing just fine. As someone who visits the Wynn quite often, they are typically full and typically do not need a sale to fill their properties. That's what happens when you're the cream of the crop, if you will, at least in Las Vegas. But they are offering an attraction special. They do have 20% off tickets at Awakenings, which that always needs to be filled because that thing is always empty. Usually you can find prices for that. So there are a couple different attractions and experiences and shows that are offering specific deals. For example, Caesar shows are all offering $50 tickets to these following shows. So I'll list them off and I'll say yay or nay. BattleBots at Horseshoe, which that is behind the hotel. You could skip that one unless you have children who love that stuff. It's really, really fun. My brother's been to it with his kid and our kids, and he loved it. Chippendales at Planet Hollywood, worth it if you're here for a bachelorette party or just, if you want to have a great time on Thursday night. Chippendales is good. Donny Osmond, people love Donny Osmond. They say he's a fantastic entertainer. I would say that that's probably worth it, especially if you're familiar with his music or just want an awesome, fast-paced, fun Vegas, old-school Vegas show. Matt Franco is going for $50 a ticket. I think that's worth it. Highly would recommend going to see Matt Franco. He's a great magician. He's over at the link. Menopause Musical, pass. MJ Live at Harris. People love MJ Live. A lot of Australians like MJ Live. and English people. I don't know why. It's just that's what happens. Piff the Magic Dragon, kind of weird. I don't like it. Potted Potter, if you like parody Harry Potter shows, this one's not bad. That's at the Horseshoe. RuPaul's Drag Race, if you're a big fan of the show, this is like the actual TV show. This is where it started, well, as drag races go. And then he kind of took over the Frankie Marino show. RuPaul's Drag Race, extremely popular in town. I saw it one time, and no, I saw the Frankie Marino show. Did not know, so this was actually on campus, and it was a girl that I was talking to at the time, and I would, like, honestly do anything. So she invited, like, hey, like, come watch the show in the whatever you call it, wherever the food court was, and student union. So I ended up going, and they're like, oh, come on in. And like they handed you like this card. And I was very oblivious back then. I had no idea what was going on. I was very bad at it. And they gave me this like free tickets to go see like this show. I was like, oh, that's cool, I guess. And then the girls pop out, and then they start doing their performance. And I'm like, oh man, like, am I supposed to look at this or not? Because they're obviously dressed, very provocatively. And I didn't know like what was going on. And then they did the splits, the whole thing. And then I leaned to the girl that I was there, that invited me. And I was like, are those guys? And they're like, yeah, of course. Like, what did you think they were? I was like, so totally got me on that one. I thought that was hilarious. But they're very good. They're very entertaining, super high energy, great dance moves. Highly recommend RuPaul's Drag Race. If that's your thing. If you're not, then maybe not, skip it. Just know what you're getting into when you're going to a drag show. They're just super funny. As we move on, they also have Wayne Newton at the Flamingo. Would not recommend doing that unless you like really want to see Wayne Newton. If you want to see Wayne Newton, save, instead of paying $50, pay $30 and go see Wayne Newton at the Wax Museum because it looks the exact same thing. The reason I don't recommend that is because he cancels his shows a lot. So I wouldn't want you to pay, this $50 for a show that like doesn't happen. The other shows would be all the X shows. So X Burlesque, X Country, and X Rocks. Those are pretty fun shows. Those are burlesque shows essentially. And X Burlesque is a burlesque show. X Country is a burlesque show with country. And X Rocks is, you guessed it, a burlesque show with rock music. That's it. Those are the only ones that are offering those $50 tickets. Those are all for Caesar's Properties. So just keep that in mind. Although there's this one for Blondies. So Blondies is $20 open bar Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. I should also mention O'Shea's has deals going on. I think I might have mentioned this last week. But O'Shea's, which is inside the Link Hotel, $5 domestic beers. But do not order a cocktail there because they will charge you $20 for that cocktail. So make sure you stick to their domestic beers or their frozen Baileys, which my mom loves. Let's see here. And they have also MGM attractions, which none of them are worth it. Wouldn't recommend it. $55 for the Big Apple roller coaster. Shark Reef Aquarium, don't do it. Don't do it at all. Let's see here. What else we got? Ooh, you can do a $70 unlimited zipline flight for one price. Valid Monday through Friday. So yeah, just make sure you keep an eye on like all of these things. Make sure you read through them. Make sure you get all the fine print. It's very, very important because a lot of it is optics, guys. Just saying that we're having this big giant sale for everybody. I do think it's good, though. I do think it's good for the city that they offer these things, just because, Vegas does need to do something about bringing people back to the town and making sure that we're not tossing away the people that really made the city, which are people who came here for the like bang for your buck and that kind of thing. But understand that Vegas is changing, guys. Vegas is not the old school like 1980s version of what Vegas is now. Vegas is quite corporate at this point. It's very high end for a lot of the things. It's very much a high end destination, not quite to the level of like Macau or Monte Carlo, but it's definitely on the level of like going to like New York, Manhattan specifically, or like you're going to LA and staying in Beverly Hills. It is sort of on that level in terms of what it's cost to stay here, the food scene has become much more high end. Whether or not the cuisine has gotten better, even though I would say it has, but it has a lot of names involved with it, like Funky, which is over at Mother Wolf, Wolfgang Puck's restaurants. A lot of Caesar's properties have celebrity chefs like Bobby Flay, Guy Fieri. My goodness, how could you forget Gordon Ramsay? He's everywhere. So obviously, it's become one of those things, but this is their chance. So if you're somebody who really enjoys Vegas and you really want to see, get a good deal in the next, upcoming 5 days, this is the best chance to do it. I do think some of these are quite good. I would say the ones for MGM Resorts and Caesars are actually quite nice. And then especially like Fontainebleau, I think theirs is phenomenal, along with Circa. I think theirs is also a really good choice as well. But again, make sure you book these early. Like, these don't hang on for like the entire time, because the day that you are wanting to visit might be taken up. Restrictions do typically apply, so make sure that you read the stuff on that. The dates that are usually blacked out are going to be don't think you're going to get any of these deals during F1. You're not going to get any of these deals during New Year's Eve. So these are definitely going to be deals for other dates, but not the marquee ones like Formula One or for New Year's Eve. So just keep that in mind. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Hopefully we'll be back with another episode later in the week. Don't know what we're going to talk about yet. I kind of have some things rolling in my mind, like best 1-2 punch in terms of like best restaurant with a show or restaurant with a view, something of that nature, where I can do like one thing and the other that are in really good places, and kind of use my expertise as a concierge to explain why we want to always recommend things that are next to things. Like, if you're going to a show, make sure the restaurant that you are going to is where that show is at, so it's a much easier travel time between the two. So anyways, thanks, guys, for listening. Make sure to check us out on Concierge Confidential _LV on Instagram. Make sure that you follow me on my personal Instagram if you want. Brian Ortega _26. Nope, it's Brian _Ortega 26. And actually, you can subscribe to this podcast, like it if you'd like, and comment. Love comments. Love feedback. I mean, who doesn't love feedback? I don't, as long as it's, I do, as long as it's, positive. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. I'll see you guys later in the week. And if you see me out in town, go up and say hello. But remember, keep it confidential.